Hey, how's it going, everybody? So today we're going to go over my settings for Fortnite. Hopefully these will help you out for mouse and keyboard as well for controller. Keep in mind that we might have different mouse or mice, and we also may have different controllers or play on different systems. For example, I play on PC, you might play on Xbox, PlayStation, Switch. So our settings may differ, and obviously our PC builds, for example, will differ as well. Keep all of that in mind. Anyways, let's go ahead and jump in. Okay, so let's start off with our first tab, which is the video tab. So under the video tab, we have window full screen. You're supposed to use full screen to get the best FPS, get the best latency so that your game plays at its best. I used window full screen just because I am switching around since I'm streaming and recording and whatnot. So I feel like this one has helped me to not only get that in a sense, but also be able to quickly change without my Fortnite screen closing down as it probably would for you in full screen mode. My resolution is at 5120 by 1440. Now this is stuck at my widescreen monitors that I use. So if you see my other videos, you know that I have two, my ultra wide and then the widescreen. This is stuck at the widescreen one. I'm not sure why, but it hasn't caused any issues. So I leave it at that since there is nothing else to change it to. VSync, I have it off. You should always typically have this off unless you can't play Fortnite, it's tearing, it's a whole mess on your screen. Then turning it on might allow you to play it. Frame rate limit, I have it on unlimited just because it allows my computer to exceed the frames that it currently can get. So if I'm capped at, for example, let's say 360 FPS, unlimited will allow me to go even higher if my machine is able to produce it. But I've also heard things about keeping it at your max. So if you're like at 240, just keeping it there. But unlimited has worked for me. Performance, this is the newest setting that Fortnite added for its rendering mode. Before I used to use legacy performance, which was really good for just general play, you know, even playing competitive. But not to have the new one now, it does a lot better. I did a video on that as well, kind of explaining it. So if you want to check that out, go for it. We go down to our graphics brightness. I have it at 125. Any higher and it gets a little bit weird. It's too bright. Any lower and it gets really dark. There are already areas of the map where it is pretty dark, but I feel that 125 has helped me, so I keep it at 125. I didn't change this, I believe. Colorblind mode. You can use it, as I've heard, for example, other players tell me that if you have it on, you can actually see stuff better, and then you can change the colorblind strength, but I have it as off. User interface, I have it as on. Basically what this means and what I interpreted is that basically once you're in the menu and you're in the item shop, you might see little effects here and there. If you have this off, then for example, this triangle that's very small here wouldn't be moving, it'd just be stuck in one spot. That's kind of what I interpreted as that. So you can do whichever you want. Graphics quality, you can do auto set to kind of have it automatically grab it for you. But I didn't do anything. As far as I remember, I just left it as is. 3D resolution, I have it as 100. Dynamic 3D off. View distance, I have it as epic. That way I can see super far. When an enemy is around, I can shoot at them from pretty far. Even when I'm gliding in the sky, I can kind of see them kind of like an eagle. You should probably be between far and epic. Those are the ones that I see the most. But for me, I'm on epic. Textures and meshes, they say FPS or frames win games. So I have these as low because they don't really matter to me, the textures and whatnot. I'm more focused on the actual play itself or gameplay. So I have these as off. I want to see my FPS, so I have it as on. Latency off. NVIDIA reflex, since I do have an NVIDIA card, I use on and boost for this. And then disabled. We go to our volume. Basically everything here I believe is default. So this is kind of how I have mine. Yeah. Licensed audio, you can mute it. I think that, for example, if you're recording a video and you're not going to edit the music out, then having it muted might help you to quickly mute it and not have it trigger a copyright or something like that. I think even for live streams, but I just have it as play. I usually edit my videos. Voice reporting, this is all I have. Open mic, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. We go to game. I play NA West. That's where I'm at. Therefore, I choose that to get the best region and the best servers so that it's not as laggy. So now let's go to our movement, toggle sprint on, right? Auto open doors. I have this as on. I'm usually running and ramming through doors so you can hear me slam it open, but you're supposed to kind of like be discreet about it. I just have it as on. Hold to jump, press to jump. Combat, hold to swap pickaxe on, off, off. Auto pick up weapons, I have it as on. I know some players have it as off, but when you're barely landing and you're trying to beat your enemy to a weapon, this sometimes does help. Prefer item slots, let's go into that. I have it as on because I want it a specific way so I remember where everything's at. So I have my AR first, shotgun, and then my utility, which could be anything. Finally, we have our last two consumables. Sometimes these three actually won't really do what they're supposed to, but I haven't had any issues with these two. So just keep that in mind if you want to have a preferred setting such as that. Let's go ahead and go back. Go down a bit. Okay, so if we also look here, we have auto sort consumables to the right. Again, it's just for my own convenience. That way I can see that everything that I need to use is on my right. Building, reset building choice on, turbo building on. I can just select, for example, a cone and it's going to keep building it as long as I look around. Simple edit, I have it as off. I've kind of been on and off about it. If I'm playing controller, then perhaps having it on might be the most useful, especially when you play against mouse and keyboard. But if you're on mouse and keyboard, it doesn't really matter, I would say. I'd rather practice and get a little bit better unless I'm completely awful at it, of course. I have a video on this too when it barely came out. I'll see if I can kind of add it to this. Disable pre-edit option is on. Auto confirm edits is both. Tutorial on, off, on. 70 and 105. This is how much it allows you to see in the game. So you can mess with this so that it either looks more zoomed in or more zoomed out. On. Replays are all off because apparently they reduce your performance. I don't need them, although they would help with videos to make things look a lot clearer. Energy saving, never off and off because we want performance. Game UI, this is kind of preference as well. On, off, on, off, off. This is more for playing on the phone. I have everything as default as far as I recall. Mouse and keyboard, off, 8. Well, as you can see here, just go ahead and copy it. I'm not going to go too much into it. Controller input, I have it as off. Keyboard movement on, 70, 90, 135. Touchpad on. Mouse flight at 100. Now for the very important part, what do I use to play? You're going to probably see this and be like, wow, this is really different. So as you can see here, let me make it bigger for myself. All right, so I might explain this a little bit more. But yeah, let's look into this. Crouch, I have it as my alt. I just like having a crouch next to my spacebar as I can jump and slide pretty quickly by moving my thumb. Sprints, I use my pinky for shift. It just feels right, so that's what I have it as. I have control for auto run, jumping with the space bar, your usual WASD. These are disabled. Weapon primary and secondary. Primary basically means to shoot, and then secondary is to aim. Reload, R, it makes sense to me. I used to have roof for R, but now I just have it as reload. Pickaxe, I have it as off, which typically I believe I use caps to bring that out. Weapon slots Q, E, because they're next to moving forward. And then I have C, V, B to use my other stuff. And then to use, I have the up scroll. Yeah, targeting, toggle scope mode. I don't think I ever use this really. Now we go into building. Again, crouching with ALT. So these here, I have it specifically this way, just because if you see my other video, and I know I reference my other videos a lot, go watch them. I have a mouse that actually have 6 side buttons, which I use specifically for certain things, which is why I have the wall, floor, stairs, roof, trap, and rotate. Those are the 6 buttons that I use on the side, and it's easy for me to remember. You are probably going to have these way different than me. So yeah, it's a lot of preference. I suggest that once you find something that's comfortable, stick with them. That way you have that muscle memory and you remember where everything's at. T for trap, place building, repair and upgrade. I never repair. I think it's best to just place a new wall, for example, rather than repair it. Change building material. I have it as 4. This is actually part of the 6 buttons. So it's easy for me to press it and then switch. Building edit. I have it as F. I actually used to use the middle button and the wheel for the mouse, but I don't know, I felt a little slow. So now I primarily use F like most people, and I think that's the default. Crouch while editing, I use Alt. Again, basically I keep it the same. Select building, your left click, reset building. Usually I use a scroll wheel rather than the right click. Toggle text chat, Y, place markers. I use a middle scroll wheel now because it's a lot simpler. You can even aim in and then just simply press a middle button to mark stuff. This does both, by the way, which is why this is disabled. Push to talk, I usually have it on or on push to talk if I want to talk. For example, I'm recording a video and I don't want the team to hear me. Emotes, miscellaneous, like I mentioned, pickaxe, I use caps. Inventory, I use this, I think it's an apostrophe. It's right above the tab. Trap picker, I think I can use my right click to switch this, so it's been good to me. And we have all this, M for map, carry with G. Yeah, this is all stuff that I don't think I ever changed. So a lot of this is probably going to be default. You can pause it if you want. Notice that there's a lot of commentators or people leaving comments of certain questions. I'll do my best to answer all of them, but if you have a question as to why something isn't working or why I use a certain thing, right, a certain keybind, let me know. And of course, I'm going to do my best to help you and also explain it to you. Again, that's pretty much it here. Let's go to controller. I haven't touched controller settings in a while, ever since I started learning mouse and keyboard. I think it was like 3-4 months ago. So let's go to the top actually. Off, on, off, controller auto run, on. Then I have those. Custom only, I don't have quick weapon on. That's my sensitivity. These are turning boosts and like how you turn. So that feels comfortable to me. I think last I remember I was getting a little bit faster. So I was actually going up. Yeah, pretty much it. I use custom. I don't use any of these other settings already because I want to make it as obviously custom as I can and as comfortable. So this is what I use. I know that there's been a lot of bugs with the left stick. So usually if you disable this has been helping a lot of players. I've also seen that people have issues with jumping. I would disable it, apply, put it back, and then apply. See if that helps. I have back buttons basically. I have 2 on this side behind the controller, 2 on these paddles, I guess, 2 and 2. Then I have an extra button like right here and then right here that I use for other stuff. I use a Razer Wolverine V3 Chroma or something like that. So it just gives me more functionality. So yeah, pretty simple indeed. If you see that something's not here and you're like, how are you doing this without having it on? Well, I haven't played in a while, so that's probably what happened. I just removed it without no reason. So keep that in mind in case something isn't working for you and you are copying this. That might be it. And these should all be defaults as well. I didn't touch none of that. But yeah, that's pretty much it. It was a nice, not brief, overview of my settings. Maybe again, if you have any questions, let me know. I'll do my best to help you out. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Go check out the other videos, and I will be trying to add the videos that I mentioned earlier, which were about 3 of them. So yeah, hopefully you like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.